Well, hello everyone. My name is Mardi and welcome to my channel. Today I am giving you a little tour of the garden that I have in between my house and the garage. It's done very well. We've had a lot of rain, a lot of heat, and some exceptionally cold weather sprinkled in between. It's been a very different year for the growing season. But a fun thing that I did this year, because I looked ahead to the very long forecast, was I planted in seeds the end of April. Long before I ever would have dreamt of putting seeds in. The earliest may be the second week into May. Okay, and I had a couple things I wanted to do, and well, let me show you what they are. So this is what my little kitchen garden looks like, and I'm going to start you over here with my volunteers. This plant started flowering about 3 weeks ago, and it's doing very well. And along here is the most prolific wild pineapple plant, or the pineapple weed, and I'm just waiting for it to flower so I can harvest it. And on the other side of this path, it would grow all along here, and last year it grew all along the edge on the outside of the garden there. And my hubby always says, where do I need not whippersnip this week? Because there is always something coming up that I'm getting ready to pick, and I had harvested quite a bit of it last year. And here we have volunteer cilantro. I've harvested quite a bit of it off, and now I've let it go to seed. Now along here I am growing the Morden cucumbers. I planted them in here from seed all along through here, and I had planted from here down with tomatoes. This is the only one that has popped up in this location. Now I am getting into a little bit of a shade zone. That's why this is going to stay covered with compost, and I'm going to be building it up with the wood chips to level out the garden here, because we're into the tree zone and very little likes to grow here well. And this here, which needs a bit of deadheading so that I can enjoy it all summer, self-seeded itself over here and has done wonderful. And it came up very early. I think it was towards the end of April, and has been putting on a beautiful show of flowers so far. And you can see we have another freebie over here. A little volunteer has popped up in the rain, so I'll give that a trim down, and then that'll stay fresh, as well as the one that was over there on the end. Now I don't go too crazy in here for weeding. One, with this 20-year-old aged horse manure compost, I was fortunate enough that it wasn't a weedy compost, so that's great. Somewhat dry up over a day and a half, and then it would rain again, so hard to get into the garden, and I do not like coming in here when it's wet. So it's wet right now, and I want to show you this video, but I'm doing it on the perimeter. I am walking this edge. So I did a little bit of weeding of a few things last week, and this is how it is, and it won't change much for probably 3-4 weeks, and that's why I love doing this method. And these I keep in here because I eat them. Okay, lamb's quarter, they're fabulous. My romaine lettuce, we cannot keep up with it. We have been eating salad, I want to say at least well over 3 weeks. What is it, the end of June? Yes, well over 3 weeks, going on 4. 4 weeks ago it would have been about 4 inches high. The carrots are doing very well in this location. Well, aren't you interesting? And this is a freebie too. Well, congratulations. That's just popped up over the last little bit. And it looks like there's another one here. Beautiful. Now, I did have a mullein plant in this corner. Last year I had 3 of them, and they seeded, and I did spread some seeds here, so I'm very happy to see a few items popping up. And we'll just see. We'll see how they come up. It may not be it. It might be the false one, but it's starting to, yeah. Beets are doing very good, and the carrots are doing well. And what I really wanted to show you that I'm very excited about as well this year is I always look forward to my volunteers. I have volunteers all through here, and nothing makes me smile more. And that's what I enjoy the most about no-till gardening. And things thrive, and they show up in the most wonderful spots. Now, I had planted the end of April. We still had almost a week left in April. Well, no, I think we had maybe 4 or 5 days left in April. And I put out some seeds because the cold ground's not going to hurt them. Now, these 2 plants are small because they're getting into that zone right there where I said, you know, it won't do as well. But I wanted to push it a little bit and just to show you ongoing what that would look like throughout the season. Now, these are hand sown seeds in the ground with this tomato. Look how thick it is. They're like a foot high down here, right into the happy zone. We're over a foot high. And I've been waiting to show you. Ta-da! And they are already starting to think about flowering. Now, how fun is that? Now, this is my family tomato, the Morden tomato. The seed developed by the family many, many years ago. And I wanted to make this seed for future seed saving very robust. So I planted the seed the end of April. The ground was still cold. It took it almost 3 weeks before it started coming up. Now, originally, I did have them planted here, and it did not like it, so it did not warm up to the temperature it needed. I knew it would do well here. I cannot get over, oh my gosh, the thickness of the plant stems. And it's been like that since the beginning. Like, this is a tree, but I'm so proud of how this seed has performed. And here it is, it's the end of June. That would have been all of May and June. And like I said, it took the 3 weeks for it to poke up through, which, you know, is not unusual. I expected it to be that out here. It's already flowering. Now, this is a very short season tomato that was developed for cold areas, and it's performing amazing. And in the future, I will be direct seeding it into the garden. I did not put any covering over this to protect it. We had a couple of weeks, and they were, you know, it was cold, warm, cold. So I'm very happy with how this is doing. Oh yeah, this is thinking about it too. These are very compact plants too. Look at that. Yeah, and it's living quite happy in this zone. I didn't keep a lot of room in between rows. I know this is going to grow over into here, so I'll be picking more on this side. I like to only keep about 16 inches in between. That does keep the weed pressure down as well. It does help. It also helps keep the moisture where you want it and protect it actually on the ground on the hot days. So far I have not added into any leaves in the pathway here or chips, which I may do that later in July. I will definitely protect my plants with that, and it wouldn't take long because it's a small garden. Well, thank you for following me around on this little mini tour of my kitchen garden. And yay! I am so happy about those Morden tomatoes and how they performed. There was absolutely no stress involved with planting them. And the only thing I would have had to do is in the cold weather when they were little plants would be to cover them. But they were perfectly fine here because of the trees that are all to the north of me here. If I felt worried at all, I would have covered them at the end of May and then that little cold stretch at the beginning of June that we had as well. But in the future, yes, I will start the seeds with a row cover and bump it up. But it's good to have a starting point when you're doing something different. And I know the volunteer tomatoes always do very well, and I'm always impressed with how thick the stalks are on the tomatoes right from the ground up. And I thought, well, why not plant them from seed and just keep an eye on them and see what happens. You got nothing to lose and everything to gain and everything to learn, right? And every season is different too, so I would be protecting it differently. But I'm just thrilled with this, and I think it's 50 or 55 days or something on this tomato. I'm going to check that. So it's 55 to 60 days for this tomato, and it's already been in the ground for just going on 60 days. But that was from seed. That was in a cold ground. Okay, it was just thinking about warming up, and it's the warmest area on my property right now, or for that time of year. So it's going to be a little bit before I get tomatoes, and I'm really looking forward to it. It means a lot. I've never had one. It's a tie-in to our family, and that's just lovely. But any seed you take and put in the ground, it becomes yours. You have it for a couple of seasons, you grow from the initial stalk, it becomes your tomato. And you can name it whatever you want, and keep that seed and cherish it and pass it forward to your children, your grandchildren, and that's why I homestead. If you've liked this video and you want to see more like this, hit like on the way in if you haven't already, and subscribe, and hit the bell on the way out for notifications for future videos. Take care.